Hi everyone, I'm Steven, and today I'm making Harry Potter's Firebolt Broom out of cardboard. I think it turned out pretty cool, so let's jump right into it. I started off by sketching out a pattern off camera, blowing it up on the computer, and printing it out. If you decide to make this broomstick, I listed a link to the pattern in the description below. Anyway, I cut out the broom and traced it onto corrugated cardboard. The pieces of cardboard that I had weren't exactly big enough to fit the entire length of the handle, so I'm going to have to overlap smaller pieces to get the full length. It's a little confusing to explain, but basically I cut out pieces of corrugated cardboard and then tiled each of these pieces of each layer so the breakpoints were in different spots. This helps it from becoming too flimsy and just snapping in half. I did 5 layers, but do however many layers you need to make it comfortable in your hand, and just keep alternating the breakpoints so there's no one clean break in the broom handle, and this just, like I said, just helps keep it sturdy. Once all the layers were glued together, I roughly cut up the corners of the bottom of the broom handle to help make it look a little bit less boxy and just to round out the bottom. After I made this big mess, I tightly wrapped the entire thing in masking tape and tried my best to keep the tape as smooth as possible. When it was all taped up, I sketched on a line that matched up with the template, and this is just the break between the brown part of the broom and then the whiter part of the broom. I then took crumpled up strips of scrap paper and taped them to the bottom of the handle. This is going to be the bumpy, gnarled, dead wood that the Firebolt had in the movies. Kind of following along the line that I drew, I made a little ridge and tried to keep it looking as organic as possible. Then I painted the handle in brown craft paint, and this was just so I could see if the tape was smooth enough. Any bumpy tape, and I used a utility knife to cut it so it would lay flat on the handle. Okay, after that I took the template of the broomstick and laid it next to the handle. It was time to build up the bottom part of the broom. So I took some corrugated cardboard and rolled it around in 2 layers until I got the thickness that matched the template. Then came the incredibly long process of cutting very thin strips of cereal box cardboard. Probably thousands of these strips came from about 4 or 5 cereal boxes. My hand really hurt after cutting all this cardboard, but I plugged on and folded a handful of these strips in half and hot glued them into the center of the broom. And I just lined it up with a template so it ended up being the same length. Oh, and to help the strips stay together, I put masking tape in the center before I folded it in half before gluing, and this just helps keep them from falling out. I bulked the center of the broom out with more and more strips before moving on to the outside where everything got covered in a thick layer of these thin cardboard strips. And since the Firebolt broom has 2 metal straps holding all the twigs together, I just made sure that the ends of all these cardboard strips were hidden by those straps. And I used the template to help me eyeball their placement, and this just helps make the strips look a lot longer than they were because cereal boxes are not long enough for this. But once all that was glued down, I gave the end of them a haircut and trimming it so it was all nice and neat right near the handle before taking it outside for spray paint. And to do that, I just used regular brown spray paint. And if you don't have spray paint, just paint the cereal boxes before you cut them, and that should work, but I used spray paint and made sure to get everything really covered up. When all that paint was dried, I took it back inside to make the faux metal straps. And these are just pieces of cereal box cardboard that I cut to fit. The one closer to the handle was really easy, but the bigger one needed to be cut into a slight cone shape in order to fit nicely around the bigger part of the broom. I decorated these straps to make them look a little bit less flat, and then I decided to add a thicker corrugated piece to the bottom of the first strap. This is going to help me glue the footrests on later. Okay, so now it's time to paint. I repainted the handle brown with a little bit of red mixed in this time, and that's just to give it kind of like the cherryish, reddish looking color that it has in the movie. The bumpy deadwood part got painted in multiple coats of white craft paint that had a little bit of brown and black mixed in. Each coat took a long time to dry, but it helps make it look solid and less like tape. Moving on to the straps. The straps got painted in just regular black craft paint, and so did the footrests that I just cut out of corrugated cardboard. It's just a simple piece of corrugated cardboard. But when I did that, I noticed that all those thin strips of cardboard just looked too brown. It needed to be darker and a little bit richer, and if I had black spray paint, I could have just lightly misted all these strips in black, but I didn't have that, so I soaked the bottom of the broom in watered down black paint. This was really messy, but it made the brown darker, and it ended up the exact color that I wanted. And this is just a black paint wash. When that dried, I painted the straps and footrests in 2 coats of metallic silver craft paint. And oh my gosh, this tutorial is getting to be a little bit long, so I'll try to be quick and wrap it up as quickly as possible for you guys. I took out the template that I made of the top of the broom handle and taped it to the brown part of the handle, and I used a pen to press into all the symbols, and this just leaves a slight indent on the handle so I know where all the symbols can go. I don't really care if it's accurate, I just want the placement in the right spot. And then I just painted them in black and then gold craft paint, and when the symbols dried, I glued on the footrests and I was done. But you'll see the finished product in a second. So there you have it, a Firebolt broom from Harry Potter made from cardboard, tape, and a lot of hot glue. I really like how the symbols pop with a little hints of black underneath it. And this broom took a really long time to make due to all those cardboard strips. And yes, I could have used actual twigs for it, but hey, this is cardboard cosplay, not twig cosplay. I love how it turned out, and I really can't wait to pretend to play Quidditch with it. It was a really fun broom to make, and I hope you guys liked it. But yeah, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye bye.